So this seminar is about open to receiving. You know, I would have been busting my boiler, if you want to call it. It's an Australian term, isn't it? If anyone had been able to say to me, how the heck do I get from where I'm at, open to receiving, for then I wanted peace in my life. I wanted my kids to be well, who were all, one of them was on the third death. And I didn't know how to do it because I was so unaware. I was so unaware of how I was being in life and much of the way I was being was actually blocking me being open to receiving peace, which eventually came through me to my children, which gave them great health and well-being, which changed my relationships with my husband, etc. But so I want to ask you a question. And this is something that I was unaware of once. Are you open to receiving? Or do you find yourself a bit closed and protective, perhaps controlling? And it's not a criticism if you are, it is just simply a way of survival in this life. So just become aware if you have felt closed. You can know that when you're with people, you're closed or you're protective or you're controlling. There'll be a tension. Are you aware? Are you accepting and allowing so you can receive? Or are you resisting and resenting and struggling? All of those things, protecting, controlling, are roles that we take on, along with, someone shared with me a doormat the other day. They felt like a doormat. Others have felt like victims. I used to be a victim as well. I'd go from controlling to victim. All those roles that we take on, protective, controlling, and particularly being responsible, where it's heavy and burdensome. Lately, when I've been working with people, they're the things that actually have blocked them from receiving. So again, to be able to become aware of how you are operating, how you are. For me, I have to spend that time sitting in my chair, my special chair where I sit with my Creator, and I come as I am and tell him that, and I wait until the stillness comes and he shows me where I'm at, and he shows me lots of things about myself in a non-judgmental way, and I become more aware, and then I have more choice to let go of being protective, to let go of being in control and take on the spirit of control. The big one for me has been about accepting. I used to constantly want to change things and change people because I felt like that they could have so much more. It wasn't that I didn't love them. It's just that I wanted them to change because I felt that they could have more. But it's not my job to be the saviour. That's another role. And that role actually stops the power from me receiving the power from within me, which releases the power from my Creator, from the I am, from the power of the one who has created the whole of the universe to flow through me, to begin to protect me, to give me the spirit of self-control, to make it safe. When I sit still long enough, there's a sense of peace. I feel safe to accept what is, but I invite him into it to take over. If you've got a wound, it can't be healed unless you accept it and acknowledge it, and you allow the physician to be able to come and touch that wound and clean it out. And that's what Agape Encounter is. It's just about cleaning away stuff, making you aware so that you can choose to change with his grace and his power. So I had to let go of the resisting, and I had no idea until I got arthritis that I was resenting. That was another thing that was actually stopping me from receiving, because I was resenting certain ways that people were being with me. I was resenting, and I thought, well, why shouldn't I be? It's not fair and it's not right. But I, in the end, had to take on the right role of being responsible for my feelings. before my Creator. That changed my focus. That made all the difference. When I went to Him with my resentment, my struggle, my control, you'll know the control because you'll be tense. And people will tell you. And go to Him and tell Him. That's me being honest, me having a relationship. And then asking Him to touch those of me and waiting till peace came. That's when change began to happen externally. And I began to have this conversation, this way of being able to ask questions, and getting a sense of what was coming to me, which began to open me to receiving because I was listening. And I've said this many times, over 360 or 50 times in the Bible, it says, listen to me. And if you can't hear Him, you can go to the Word of God. Or if you can begin to develop a relationship that is one-on-one because He's in you. Do you know, you must have someone in your life that you would love to receive. You must have someone or something in your life that you want to get, maybe you're frustrated with them and you want to shake them. Someone that maybe it's a child and you wish that they would just be open to receiving, but you can't get near them because they're too protective and they're too defensive. That's another role. The way to doing that is by beginning to listen. Listen to them. And then you'll begin to receive their attention. You'll be able to receive what's going on in their mind, what's going on in their heart. What are they feeling? But they're not going to share it with you. And you're not going to receive what's on their mind and heart. And so develop a relationship if you are controlling, if you are resenting, if you are resisting them, if you are hating them or yourself. They're just the normal little ones. And just this week, Trish gave me permission to share this with you. She rang me and she was really stuck. Something was coming up and she wasn't able to, even after years of learning what we have learned, we often need each other to help one another. And she said, look, I've got this memory of my child, and she was quite in touch with the child, but there was a sense of being split. There was a sense of not being able to come to a place of peace. She couldn't receive the peace that she wanted and the clarity that she wanted. And so I asked the wonderful counsellor, I said, wonderful counsellor, where should we focus? Where should Trish focus? And suddenly she was focusing on the adult Trish, not just the memory part of her in the childhood, which hadn't been resolved. But she was aware of the adult her. And then I had a sense of asking her a question that came to me. I said, how are you feeling right now? And she felt tense. So I said, wonderful counsellor, show Trish, what is she doing? And she became aware that there was a part of her that was very protective and defensive and kind of in charge, and which is again a survival mechanism or a learned behaviour from generations. We usually do what our parents do. And I said, well, whilst you've got those parts of you in charge, you're in control, the spirit of self-control can't come, the spirit can't help you while you're trying to do it. And it's always hard and it's always painful and it doesn't work. So she was willing to let the angels, this is a wonderful, wonderful way. When I'm in control, I go, or is a part of me that's really uptight and tense, I just ask the wonderful counsellor, our creator, could he please send his heavenly angels, just like I did with Trish, to that controlling, protective part, those role parts of her that had developed, had a way of survival. And those angels could assist her, and those protective, guarding, controlling parts of her, and whatever was presented, could work with the angels of God, the angels of God. And at that moment, those aspects of her just let go. And she was able to feel a real shift as she let go of control. And I want to tell you all of this. When we have the spirit of control, and it's a dark spirit. Let me tell you, we will be so frightened. It'll be based on fear. We'll be out of control, and things won't be changing in our life. And so I just said to her, now just let go of control, and the angels and I will come with you, only where the spirit of love and wisdom would take you, your creator. And as she let go, and this is frightening for a lot of people, she felt like she was falling out of control. And I said, just keep going. So if ever you feel like this, always under the guidance of your creator. She just fell and fell and fell and fell. And then there was terror, paralyzing fear and terror. I said, let's just keep accepting this and let the spirit take you through that, because he dissolves it. And she went right through the terror and the frozenness, which we usually resist and run in the other direction. And of course, it just follows us. She went all the way through it, and then suddenly she broke through, like breaking through a dark cloud, and she came to this place where there was just peace, utter peace, and all the terror and fear and the frozenness had dissolved, and she was able to connect to the inner child and to the presence of peace. Now, this is habit and pattern, all of these roles. I just want to say to you, I'm aware of this. I have been working with people for 20 years, and I'm still aware occasionally I take on I'm aware because of my energy. I start taking control again. And I know because I start to get tense and I lock my hips. And that's a pattern that many of us have as a defensive mechanism, a way of survival. If you feel tense, stop. You're usually in a role and you are blocking and you're not open to receiving the grace and the power of the one who lives in you, who wants to flow through you. So step back, let go. Let go of your negative reactions. You have a right to be as I did. I had a right to a lot of my feelings, but I just needed to sit and let go, step back, and take responsibility for dealing with those negative feelings, the unforgiveness, and anything, and the doubt. The biggest thing. This week I was working with people, and they were so close. They were having this wonderful breakthrough like Trish did, from right through the terror and the fear and any tension. And they were receiving a real peace and real clarity and presence and light. And there was just a bit of darkness. And that little bit of darkness I've known now for years, and they acknowledged it, was doubt. I cannot encourage you enough. If you start to doubt, literally that doubt is the spirit of doubt. It opens a door to darkness, and in comes all sorts of negative thoughts that will just bombard you. Do not doubt, but ask for the truth. Ask the spirit of truth. What is your perspective? What is your truth? So doubt is a huge thing. So having got rid of all of those, which we're going to do in a moment, then you're open to receive. But being open to receive, as I said before, I cannot encourage you enough. Take 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I sit much longer. In fact, I don't stop sitting still and being still. And I don't always verbally pray out aloud. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I say a rosary or an Our Father very slowly because I want to become present to what I say. But a lot of the time I just sit still and become present. And I ask my wonderful Creator, how am I feeling now? So I can get connected to me, so I can get even more deeply connected and become one and powerful. Then you and I can be anywhere, in any situation that's dramatic, any place with people we don't like, and we can be in this place of peace and presence, not reacting, not respond, but not even needing to respond, but just being. And we can silently, this is really receiving wisdom. Ask wisdom. If you need to speak, take over, speak through me. If you can't love through me. If you begin to do this, not only will you receive what is already like a treasure trove within you so that you can have it released through you because the doors will be opened, but the other people will be receiving them. I hug people now, but what they don't realise, well, I can't at the moment because of COVID, what they don't realise is when I hug them or when I touch them or when I'm present with them, I ask the spirit of love to flow through me. Anyone can do that. So I don't only receive, but they receive. And people say to me, oh, I feel so much better as a result of being present with you. Or, oh, I feel so good. And my grandkids love my hugs. And it's not my human hug only. It is the love from within flowing through. So most of us walk around with what I call lacking. Instead of receiving an abundance and letting that abundance flow through you and doing what you can't do through you, that's receiving, and then you can give, and then you will receive back. But it truly is in giving that you receive. When people start giving you good feedback, you receive. The other thing I want is that when you're learning all of these things, when you stuff up and you do react or you do the wrong thing, that again, you don't make a block from receiving mercy and gentleness and compassion and openness. But you actually get, for instance, a lot of people, if they fail, they're frightened of being judged and rejected. And the evil one is delighted at that because you just get darkness and you withdraw and protect. But your creator just sees that you're learning like a child in the universe. So you are not a failure. You are maybe failed at learning to respond rather than react. So just give yourself a hug and encourage yourself. That's one of the, again, the biggest things that I've seen is people turn on themselves and start hating themselves because they've mucked up, hated. Just encourage yourself. Again, you are not a failure. You're just learning. We maybe fail, as I said. So what I want to do now is take you through, there's a beautiful, I just want to encourage you before I go on, actually, I wanted to say, a lot of people say to me too, I can't trust. And of course you can't receive, you're not open to receiving if you can't trust. But I acknowledge that people can't trust because it hasn't been, they've been abused in some form or way. So I say to them, you don't need to trust to start with. You can just ask for the grace to listen to the truth. And trust slowly, slowly builds as you listen to the truth, as you let wisdom take over, and you see the change. Trust begins to happen. Trust begins to build, and you only need the trust and the faith of a mustard seed. And that begins by listening to yourself and listening. So God will supply all your needs. All of them. So why aren't you receiving? This is where we're going into the meditation and seeing so that can be released and so you can receive. God will supply all your needs from his glorious riches, which are within us as well as without us. In Philippians 4:19. So let's go receive. Let's just sit back in your chair. I ask you, particularly those who are listening to the recording, just to close your eyes maybe so you're not just distracted if you feel okay with that. And this is just a brief meditation. There are many more on the YouTube channel and on our website, Agape Encounter. So just stand back in your mind's eye and allow wisdom, truth, love, Jesus, the wonderful counselor, to show you. I ask you, wonderful counselor, spirit of gentleness and love, bring into people's minds the one area in their life, that you are wanting them to be open to receive, but they're not receiving. Bring that person, that situation. So when you have that person, that memory, that situation in your mind's eye, stay with it, keep focusing on it, and then listen. Wonderful counselor, as people look at that situation where they're not receiving, where they're not open to receiving, show them, this is the way to break through. Show them what are they feeling as a result of that personal situation. What are they feeling? Now acknowledge. The wonderful counselor will show you your feelings, because a lot of people don't know. When you look at that situation, that person where you want to receive and be open to receive, but you're not receiving, where does that leave you? What does that leave you feeling? So as you acknowledge these feelings, you begin to get released. You might be feeling tense, rejected, not good enough. That's a belief. Acknowledge what's coming to you. And acknowledge all the beliefs while the feelings come up. When you're in that situation or with that person, what are you left feeling and believing? You show them, wonderful counselor. I've got the word inadequate. Hold the word inadequate. Look at it. Just like Trish did. Stay with it. Hold the feelings. Hold the negative beliefs. And just, if you do feel it and sense it, I'm going to ask your wonderful counsellor to show you if you are operating out of any roles of being responsible and it's heavy. If you're operating out of control where there's tension, acknowledge it. Acknowledge it and then let it go. Let go of the false responsibility so you can take the spirit of responsibility on, which is light and easy. If you feel like a doormat, acknowledge it and just gently let it go. Let that, if you're feeling a victim, acknowledge that. It's a role. Acknowledge it and then let that role go. Let the heavenly angels come and be your protectors, guards, and the ones to be responsible for you. Now, just as you let go, now the other thing is, that's just come to me, is let go of any self-judgment, condemnation, criticism, resentment, resisting, hating. Acknowledge it, own it, and then let it go. It's heavy. It blocks. Acknowledge it. You can hate what people do, but don't hate you, yourself, or others. Just let it go. Let it go. And I ask the living waters from the heart of Jesus to flow over you, and the blood of the Lamb to flow over you. Just Jesus, the greatest gift that anyone can give is their life. He paid the price. He let it go. He knew that you would be damaged. Damage yourself. Be damaged by others. Let it go now. Let go of the reactions. And I want you to listen now and be open to receive His perspective, His truth of that person, of that situation. When you look at them now and you look at that situation, what do you see? What do you sense? I ask you, Spirit of clarity, one who brings clarity and truth, how would you have each one see either themselves, the situation where they weren't receiving, the person where they weren't receiving? What is it like now? What is your perspective? Stop, observe, stand back, allow that image, the word, the sense that you're given. Notice if there's been a shift. Notice if you feel lighter, freer. You will have received. And it will then, you will receive physically, you will receive in the world as well. When you are free within, you begin to be free to receive from without. Notice if there's been a change or no change. Knowing that we, as a team of Agape Encounter, are willing to assist you and facilitate you as you persevere and endure till you become complete, lacking in nothing. And that happens when you learn to sit and be still in the presence of the one who has everything that you ever wanted. Where you feel safe and secure, where the one who has truth, the one who wants to be your helper, your guide. If only you would allow, you then will receive. So I gently invite you back into the room or wherever you are. As we come to a close, I'm just going to complete the recording and thank those who are listening.